But yeah, what a heck of a package this fucking is. um, as you can see, we are now inside the box, and it has this very nice sort of bluish look to it, which I do appreciate. All of them have had a sort of different color scheme, even though they have that same general, uh, very abstracted cityscape aesthetic. This one does lean very much into the Spider-Verse aesthetic, where it looks like the nighttime shots from that film, even though it very much is branded as Across the Spider-Verse. I imagine for rights reasons, um, for whatever reason, I would imagine Bandai seemingly can only get the rights to Across the Spider-Verse. I don't really know why that's the case exactly. Other companies have been able to get into the Spider-Verse action figure licenses, so I don't know why Bandai is only going for Across the Spider-Verse, but whatever. Anyways, we still got Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham because they do briefly appear in the film. Like they're, I believe, I'm not so sure about Spider-Ham, but I believe at least Noir is only in that like final shot. So, as an Across the Spider-Verse figure, I don't even know why he's being made. There are other more important characters to make, but given that both of these are two of the important side character Spider-Men in Into the Spider-Verse, it makes sense to get them alongside already having Miles, Gwen, and Peter. All we need is a Penny Parker. Where the heck is she, Bandai? Come on, motherfuckers. You're making a Scarlet Spider and a Marvel vs. Capcom Spider-Man? Whatever. Anyhow, but yeah, otherwise, fairly standard for the previous Across the Spider-Verse figures that we've seen. A window package that allows us to see both of the noted figures, even though one is more of an action figure than the other, with a oddly yellow background, which is interesting. S.H.Figuarts, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Ham from Across the Spider-Verse is printed here. They specifically note Across the Spider-Verse because they're having fun. Bamco right there. We have the cityscape behind them. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with the Japanese title for the figure. Webshop, Marvel, Tamashii Nations, Bandai. There's the sticker. And here we have what looks like promotional / concept art for the two characters for some reason. I don't know, dude. Last time it looked like actual art from like the movie or whatever, but we're back to the concept art, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, very nice. Top of the box continues the window allowing light in from the top. Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham right here, across the Spider-Verse logo. The bottom has images of the two of them, him being like, you don't like cartoons, and him with his brim being like brought down or whatever. The American distribution warning sticker, which is to be expected. It's for adults, or at least ages 15 up, because it's an adult collectible, I guess. This side shows our two figures, Noir and Ham, S.H.Figuarts, Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham from Across the Spider-Verse. This side shows the two of them in an action pose, while this previously was more of like a headshot. And on the back, we get all of our promotional images, and it looks really nice. The nice dark blue going into this sort of like very desaturated look, where it's like they essentially just put like a transparent like white filter on it, which makes it this very nice like pale blue. I like that. Anyhow, Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham, we have the two of them in those nice action poses. We have Spider-Ham showing some of the different poses he can pull off because of all that. We have two Noir poses showing that he can take off his hat if you want to have fun with him. Spider-Ham having his hammer, all the accessories you get in the set, simple style, and heroic action. So without further ado, let's get into the set. I think we're going to be starting with Spider-Ham essentially because he's an accessory. He is a figure, but like he's closer to a statue, even though he does have a lot of option parts. So I guess we'll start there. And there is 2 layers of stuff. Interesting. Spider-Ham stands, I imagine, because he can't stand up on his own, maybe? Sorry, I'm looking over everything. We get 2 trays, as you can see. I guess we're starting with... No, I'm going to start with the Ham accessory. So we're going to open this, and then open that, and then we'll get back to the actual figure. So, let's get it open. I love Bandai's clamshells. They're just the best way to hold action figure parts. I'm sorry. They're just so nice and elegant and well designed, and they just allow for easy access to all of the parts. So, figure time. Let's start with Spider-Ham's accessories, because his are a lot more extensive, because they are the main way you pose him, because they wanted to include, like, the cartoony poses, and, like, he's too small to really have limbs anyways, but he does have ball joints. Everything seems to be a ball joint. So, as far as arm options, we have left and right web hands, or I guess web arms. They're nicely painted. They have that little bit of blue there. I kind of wish the lines were painted, but that's fine. I really like the sort of cartoony sculpting on the hands. That's very fun and cute. And the webbing does look nice, and he can go thwip thwip, and you get 2 of those, which is nice. Then you get 2 open palm hands, which can be used fairly generically, but I'm pretty sure they're meant to represent, like, the scene in Into the Spider-Verse when he spits on his hand, he goes, put her there, essentially, which is nice to see. Once again, have that very nice sculpting and painting. I really like how they did the cartoony fingers, and they are smaller than these, so they have that sort of cartoony squash and stretch effect. Moving on, it appears there is also sort of a Spider-Ham stand. There are 2 bases and so there's an arm, which, like, clips around something. I don't really know what, but there is an arm that clips onto something, presumably, like, his neck. I guess we're going to choke him out. Then we get 2 bases, similar to the Action Heroes Tony Tony Chopper, actually. We have this one, which I imagine is for his more stock standard pose. I don't know if this came out, actually, but there we are. Sand arm. We have this one for his more stock standard pose, and if it'll come out, we have a broader one, which is meant to hold him for his wider pose, which is very much appreciated. And they have these, like, peg holes. Those are for the stand arm, right? There is a stand arm included. Moving on to the rest of accessories, he includes 2 more arms. Each of them are holding a stick. Very similar to the previous one, so I won't go too in depth, but the stick, it does look very nice. It's brown. I kind of wish there was a little bit of, like, blackened weathering, kind of like something we'll get to in a minute, but they do work nice. But those have sticks because they count for his primary weapon accessory, the hammer. This is just the hammer on the thing. You kind of gotta port it in to one of these, which is nice and easy and simple to do. But yeah, it looks great. I love how they got that cartoony wood grain sort of effect onto it. In the way it just looks like a big old mallet, and, like, I do think you kind of need this for a Spider-Ham. But yeah, that's great. I love the hammer. I love that he has his hammer. Anyhow, next up, swappable legs, so that you can get him into more of an action pose. They're big and spread out, and it's very funny, and I do like the way he has his sort of, like, cloven feet or whatever. But yeah, it's fairly simple. The blue paint looks nice enough. There's the peg hole stand. You can stab it up his ass, or maybe that's for, no, this is for the tail. This is totally for the tail. I guess you have to swap out the tail as well, which seems a little annoying to me, but legs, those are nice. Anyways, next up, alternate head, which is a lot of his mass. This is the sort of you don't like cartoons face, which is very nicely done. It looks very expressive. It looks just like the film version does. My eyes look a little sloppy, unfortunately, which I guess I'll have to live with, but the line work isn't as clean as I would have liked it, which it's annoying because it's expensive, but it's fine. It's not the worst. I've seen a lot worse. But yeah, it does look nice. I do kind of wish, again, the lines were painted in, like, a black, but it's fine. I'll live. I do like the way it generally looks, though. It does look very similar to the original cartoon. But finally, we have the one, the only, Spider-Ham. This is in sort of that generic, like, fists on hips sort of pose that a lot of Spider-Hams are in. I don't know if he can actually stand. Let me... Yeah, the answer is no, so that's why he includes the stand. But yeah, here he is. I'm going to be all close in because he is smaller. The head, again, looks very nice. I don't like this head as much expression-wise. The eyes seem a tad small. I know it's for, like, action poses and stuff. And I'm pretty sure he does sometimes look like this in the show, but I don't know, it just looks a little off. But it does generally look nice. He has the ears, which are nice. I hope those don't break. And the general lining. The body does look pretty perfect. The way it has that sort of cartoony, sort of Looney Tunes ass arch. He's got his ass pointing back with that nice little springy tail, which you do have to remove, which is annoying. But it does get a lot of the Spider-Man details right. Where there is paint on the body, it seems fairly clean. The spider on the front looks great. The spider on the back looks great. The blue looks great. The red is plastic, so that's fine. But yeah, he does look very good. He's not the main event here, but he does look good. He does have articulation. His head is on a singular ball joint, which allows for a lot of nice movement, allows him to look up that far, down that far, as well as a lot of really good tilt, which makes him a little bit extra expressive. As mentioned before, all of the arms are on ball joints, so they are so thin that I don't want to mess with them because I fear I will tear them. But yeah, Spider-Ham. Spidered my ham. Yeah, that's all the Spider-Ham stuff. Sorry, the acid reflux is still straddling my throat. That's on me. But now with the ham part out of the way, now we need to go into a bit more noir. Yeah, so we'll open up the second tray of accessories while we're here. There, come on. Yeah, we'll start here because this tray has the more boring accessories before we get to the more interesting ones. A lot of this stuff just kind of went everywhere. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, starting off, get the most boring of boring accessories out of the way. We have the same 3 webs that basically every Spider-Man in this line has come with. I think the only ones that have had different are 2099 because he has those digi webs, and Paviter because his the bangle or whatever has its own unique web system. But yeah, it's the same 3. We have the short that goes on the wrist, the long that goes on the wrist, and the one that's meant to be held in hand. Again, I wish we got pairs in these, especially since they are so reused. But if you have as many releases in this line as I do, you have a lot of these webs. You can make it pairs if you need to at this point. Next up, we need to go into the nice gloved hands. He has fists on him out of the box. So, starting off, we have these general open palm hands, which, I'm going to be honest, look really good. They're very simple. I think they are painted, but they are a very simple look. But they do have the nice wrinkles and like seams that you would expect out of a glove. It just has this very nice subtle printing, and I do like the way the fingers are sculpted. Again, it looks ripped straight out of the original series. It's great. Or movies. I mean, it's a series of movies. Anyhow, methinks Thwippers are next. Sorry, I had to collect my thoughts. Yeah, methinks Thwippers are next. Very similar in style. Plain and, like, gray. But very nice indeed. Again, they have that nice wrinkling that I really like. It's nice and subtle, but it ends up working. Is there another thumbs up? Because am I stupid? Let me look through all of these accessories. Did they get swapped around? I am confuzzled, sorry. I guess this one might need to go on in there. Oh, there's the extra hand. Okay, let me just organize in my head really quickly. We'll go with these next. We have, for each side, some pinching hands. These are primarily meant for the hat, which we'll get to. He can sort of like tip his hat to like whoever and whomever. But yeah, they are once again very nice. The seam feels extra accentuated here, which is nice. But yeah, I love the way that there are like these subtle wrinkles where the finger is bending. Again, these gloved hands look great. They know how to do a gloved hand versus a normal hand, which I always get petty about with like Marvel Legends because they'll just like take a normal hand, mold it in black, boom, you got gloved hands. Anyhow, next up, you have some parts that you should generally expect. We have these sort of thumbs-uppy sort of fingers, though since they have holes in them, if we put it like that, these are meant to hold the webbing so that you can, like, web swing around, to be expected. But again, they do a very good job. These are different from basically all the other Spider-Men, which is appreciated. And yeah, finally, we have like a pair of fists, but with holes in them. I think these are also for webbing. Because they do have the holes at the top, but otherwise are the fists. So I imagine these are for the webbing. Sure. I don't know. And finally, in this set, we have a holster. I don't think he comes with a gun because I don't see any gun holding accessories or anything like that. But he does have a gun holster of sorts. I guess this was just here so that it wouldn't dangle around on the figure itself while in the package, which I guess is fair. But yeah, now that moves that to the side. Lots of stuff in this package. Because now we need to get to the main package. So first off, accessories-wise, in the kind of practically not accessories given his look in the film, we have his fedora, which is very nicely sculpted and painted. Nice and simple, but it does get the idea across, since in the film it is also fairly simple. The black, shiny, like, strip on it, contrasted with the gray of the plastic, looks great. And it seems particularly sculpted for his head, so hopefully this will stay on fine. But now, moving to 1x zoom, we get to look at these cloth goods. Like with the previous figure, as we saw before, he has cloth goods. He has a cloth goods cloak, which is packaged separately, even though, unlike, I guess, Peter B., where, like, there are some expectations that you can generally pose him without it, this feels very intentional that you should include it with him. I do like that it's separate, though, so you can go for more of a comic-y Spider-Man Noir look. It's very nice. It has it's a little bit more of like a soft, I don't want to say softer, but like a shinier material, and softer. It's not like a leather in any way, shape, or form, but I guess that wouldn't really work for an action figure anyways. I love, if you look here, it's got these tiny buttons. Those are really very, very cool. But yeah, it's got these little, like, straps, which I guess are meant to flow in the wind, or get tied around his waist if you want to do that. But it is a bit big and a bit baggy, but, I mean, it is a big figure, so it also has, are these working pockets? Let me check. I mean, they're not going to actually allow him to put his hand in there. Damn, yeah, this thing got pockets. This thing has pockets. It also has, as with the previous one, bendy wire. It goes around the neck, down here, and then around the waist area. So that's nice. And then the arms, or you know, arms. Yeah, that's that. Which means it's finally time to get into the actual action figure of this set at 18 minutes into the video. This is a very packed release. So, there's like a lot of plastic protecting his back, I guess, for whatever reason. Yeah, here we are with the base figure. Again, as with the previous release, very tall. And there's a lot of these plastic. I guess they painted this one a lot more thoroughly than they tend to do. Give me a sec. I gotta get all this plastic out, 'cause it's in some fairly annoying places. Come on. Come on. I can get it out of there. All this plastic is really tight. Sorry. There's that one at least, so. There we are. There we are. Got it a little bit torn up, but here we are. Yeah, I guess he's way more painted than, I guess, usual. Which, I mean, I guess is nice given the high price tag on this figure. But, yeah, he's very tall. And this feels a bit odd to me. It's very much more of a comic book-esque noir. I mean, I guess if you also include the hat. Let's Oh yeah, that fits nicely. That's a very nice fit. It's a friction fit, but it's very nice. Um, but yeah, it's all in like grays and like shades of gray, which I guess is that black and white noir aesthetic. But yeah, it looks very nice. Starting off with the head, that's really good. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. Actually, like, I think there is some subtle work done on some of the lining. Uh, like a slight glossier like bit of paint was put on all of these like web lines, and there's not a ton. They're mainly on the mask, but that's so good looking. And then he has his goggles, which are perfectly painted. I had my complaints with Spider-Ham, but these are perfect. These eyes, absolutely stupendous. The neck has some really nice turtlenecking sort of dealio, and then he has his button-down shirt. I do wonder if they could have put some of that metallic paint into these buttons, but I'll live. But yeah, very nice sculpting, which looks very nice. The back is fairly plain. It has that sort of overall look. There's nice sculpting, though. I do really like the sculpting and like the subtle variations in black paint to help it look more multi-toned, because like movies are black and white, but black and white movies had like multi-toned looks to them. But yeah, the arms are very plain with some nice clothing, like stretching marks and whatnot, or whatever the term is. But I do love that they didn't just leave it as like plain or super plain arms. They do have this way clothes scrunch and stretch. They could have just left it as like a plain arm, since you're going to be covering it with the jacket most of the time anyways. But no, they didn't do that, which is really greatly appreciated. The belt is a standout. It has some very nice, subtle, shiny, like gloss paint, and it has his pouches, and it looks great, even though it does just sit there. It's a little loose for my taste, but it's going to stay there. It's a Kamen Rider style thing, and I do really like that. They know what they're doing. Same sort of hip dealio as you've seen on previous Spider-Mans, essentially butt articulation. It works well. I like this style. It allows them to kick backwards a lot better while still having a butt sculpt. It looks nice. The legs have a lot more intricate painting or sculpting. There's this sort of line, which again, I don't know if it's just because of the type of paint they used. It has this like shine to the raised part. It looks very nice. It's coming off on camera a lot more gunmetal gray than it is, honestly. Looking at it now, it is a nice light gray, but it's coming off a little bit more. But I hope the variation in tone is coming across, because like this is different from this by a good bit, and it makes the boots feel just so nice, even though they are very much sculpted to like the calf. There is some subtle lining on it. There are a couple of like weird paint blemishes, but they aren't too noticeable. They're just a little extra shiny. And then he has his usual boots, which have that nice rectangular look. Overall, he looks great, even without all of the accoutrement. I guess while we're here, might as well get into the base figure's articulation, because I imagine it's going to be as good as the previous ones, at least as good as like Peter is. But let's do a check. So, first off, neck is able to look up that far. Not quite as good as Peter, but that's still very good. It's dumbbell joint here, and a ball joint down here, which allows him to look up. Allows him to look way down, which is great. Allows for some strong ass tiltage, and your usual swivels, as to be expected. There are butterflies here in the shoulders, which allow him to... That's a good butterfly. That's a good butterfly, which allows him to cross his arms with ease. That is great to see. He has the usual universal shoulders, which allow him to swivel all the way around and to go up alongside the butterfly about that far. Could have gone a little higher, but I'm not too picky. And this is also able to shift up and down because the butterfly is essentially a slightly specialized ball joint. There is a bicep swivel, a little bit tight, but that does do the job. Double jointed elbow, which gets about that far, and the hand is on the usual swivel hinge swivel of a S.H.Figuarts hand peg, as to be expected. The torso seems very similar to the original Peter B. No real waist swivel, thanks to the way it's able to get down for a crunch. I wish there was a little bit more crunchage given that, but it does work well. You have a ball joint up here and a sort of ball joint down here, which allows for crunchage. Arches back very well as well. Has fairly nice side-to-side tiltage, and most of your swivel is going to be coming from the top. Though, unlike the Peter Parker Spider-Man, this looks a bit better. It does somewhat break the sculpt, but you are able to get your nice swivels that look good and nice. Thighs, very sort of similar system to that Peter B. With, I think it's like a hinge. It's probably like a ball joint in there, but it works like a universal style joint. It will kick forward with a bit of a squeak all the way. It will kick backward all the way, thanks to that butt sculpt. It will kick out practically all the way. There's a little bit more that I could have wanted, but that's fine. Thigh swivel works like a thigh swivel, as is to be expected. Double jointed knee, able to go nearly all the way. Could have liked a little bit more, but I get it. It does basically fill in all the space. And the foot is very similarly engineered to that Peter B, which was a very good ankle tilt. So swivel, able to go forward and backward. I wish there was a little bit more forward and back, but that's fine. And that amazing ankle tilt. That is... these are good feet. I wish more figures had feet like this. Yeah, now that we've gone through his articulation, I think we need to get him fully suited up. So, let's. I think the fists should work fine. To get a jacket on any figure, it works best to have their arms back, so that you can essentially just plonk it into the armholes on our jacket, and then slide it forward. Give me a sec. I'm gonna get some of the more specifics handled. Oh, that fits him quite nicely. Sculpt it with the bendy wire a little bit. Yeah, it does look a bit baggy in the arms, as tends to be the case for action figures, and it bunches up around the neck a little bit much, but overall it does look very nice, and I do like it a lot. At least the baggy arms allow for the articulation to be fairly unimpeded. Yeah, it looks nice. It's a very nice feeling fabric, if I'm going to be honest. I don't like how that button's hanging off there. I'm going to have to be careful with that. But yeah. But finally, Spider-Man Noir, which I guess is a Peter Parker in any sense, needs his hat. And there is the full look. I know I've been holding out on you for that full look for a while, but whew, yeah, that is good. I like it a lot. It's very, very nice looking. As with all cloth goods, it's going to look a little bit baggy, but I think it's worth it in the end to get such a nice posable figure that still has the full jacket. And yeah, that's so good. That is legitimately great. I like that a lot. With the trench coat, I'm a little bit lost for words, as you can tell, just because I think it's so good. The fabric does seem to catch on to stuff a little bit easily. You could probably wash it, though I'd be careful with the buttons. But yeah, this just looks great, in my humble opinion. You might not like it as much as I do, but yeah, it's great. So yeah, that's the Spider-Man Noir and... Oh wait, I forgot this. Sorry. There we are. I do like that it's removable, because it gets it out of the way if you do want to use the hip poses a little bit more seriously. But yeah, anyways, because you saw that the Deadpool review, those holsters got in the way so much, it sucks. Anyhow, that is our unboxing / overview of Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham. Come on, let's get you in there. Come on. There we are. That's our review of this Into the Spider-Verse, but Across the Spider-Verse set. And I love it. It's really good. Like all of the Spider-Verse figures honestly have been, it is quite good, and this one is probably one of my favorites so far. It's just, there's so much little stuff done with it that I have to love it. Yes, it is oversized. That's a general gist with this line. If you want smaller, more, I guess, Marvel Legends adjacent and whatnot action figures of these Spider-Man characters, go for like Sentinel or something. But yeah, this is very good. I really like it. This might be the best Spider-Man Noir on the market just because of the jacket, because thanks to the jacket, you can make him more comics accurate, or just go for the full animation look. It's great. I love it. Very good figure. I do recommend it. Maybe wait for a sale because it is very expensive, but I do feel like at least I got my money's worth. It feels nice and premium. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, don't forget to do all the usual YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know. I should do more Spider-Verse figure videos. I have at least one more figure on the way at some point. But if you want me to get that Scarlet Spider, let me know. I'm on the fence about it, honestly. So if you guys could convince me to get that Scarlet Spider, go ahead and do so now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!